Hey now.
What
Hey
up?
now. Back in the building.
Dynasty show. You missed us on Thursday on Hustlers Network 420 on 420.
Yeah, I was actually out. I thought I was going to be back, but it was a good night that night. So,
Well, good for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We got a couple things I guess been going on. My Vikings, the first and foremost, the Trey Lance news. I don't know what's going to happen. Is Trey Lance going to get traded? Are the Vikings actually looking at him? Is that something we're going to do now or after the draft? They've already said they didn't want to extend, Kirk. So, Dalvin's getting old. Our defense sucks. Are we like? Is it time to start over? I mean, I don't know.
um, I think the Vikings would be doing themselves a disservice if they weren't looking towards the future, and if Trey Lance is available, why not? So I don't think they're doing anything that they shouldn't be doing in terms of looking for a young guy, and potentially what they would have to give up is a lot less than what they would had to give up if they were to draft Trey Lance, like the 49ers did, how much they gave up. So I think it's worth taking a poke around. There's nothing wrong with that. So it would be, I think it would be a good move for them, considering Kirk Cousins, we kind of know what he is. I think he's pretty much reached his ceiling with that particular team. The defense needs an overhaul. Now, what are you going to have to give up for him is the real question. So,
Yeah, that's true. PB and waivers, what up? Kev, what's good, Kev? What it do?
I love those
Derek,
hammer emojis.
what
Love
up,
it.
Derek?
All right, Derek. Now we're rolling. Salute, Stevie and Polish Hammer. I know I'm second fiddle on this show, and I'm comfortable being Robin to Steve's Batman. I am comfortable. I'm comfortable being the Scottie Pippen of this show. I have no problem with that. I just want to be acknowledged. That's all I want.
PB and waivers said he's half Polish.
See,
Yep.
this is what I'm talking about.
We are
Now,
both half Polish.
all right, now, PB. So if you're half Polish but you're a Bears fan, we can only be half cool, because that Bears situation, Nah, but I'm kidding. That's what's up, man.
The Vikings feel they can win the division. It is time to retool if they don't feel they can win the division. I mean, I don't know. The division's up for grabs. I mean, either way, with Kirk or with Lance, I think,
That's what's going to be my point.
We'd still be there. Just, can the defense hold up? Is Lance going to play well? I mean, I like the idea if we're not going to keep Kirk. I mean, there's not many quarterbacks that are out there that are, there probably isn't any that are better than Kirk. And by the time we get to pick in the NFL draft, are any of those quarterbacks going to be better than
anybody
as Kirk was? So, I'm okay if we're not going to keep Kirk to go for Trey Lance. I'm okay with it. Starting fresh, starting new.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. And the interesting part about it is does that let you know that Trey Lance is available? Which is a really interesting. If you look at it, that's what I'm saying. If you're looking at it from San Francisco standpoint, all of a sudden Trey Lance is available. So it's like, that's an interesting, because if they're gonna roll with Brock Purdy, then then maybe that may cost less to get Lance. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because we don't know if Brock Purdy is going to even play this year. Like, he came out and said, like, I don't know, So if he doesn't play, is that why they got Sam Darnold now too? Maybe, to back that up, you can lose, or maybe they find out that Brock is, almost ready, or he's trending in the right direction as we get closer. And they got Sam Darnold in the meantime, and they like what Sam Darnold gives them in the meantime, and they can get some draft capital for Trey Lance. I mean, but can they afford to wait that long, or do they want it, in this year's draft? And that's just
I'm
I don't know.
I'm not gonna go so far as to say San Francisco could take any quarterback and go to the playoffs, but I do feel like if you trade Trey Lance and run with Sam Darnold until Brock Purdy's ready, like, bro, I think they could get it done. I think they can make the playoffs. I think they can, make some noise because basically all Sam Darnold has to be is Jimmy G. Like that's the benchmark in order to be at least get it. Jimmy G got that team to the Super Bowl. So the defense is awesome. You got CMC, you got Kittle, you got stable of running backs. Obviously, you got pretty good wide receivers, Debo and company. And I think San Francisco really wants to try and recoup some of what they lost by trading Trey Lance, because imagine giving up 3 first round picks and 2 years later you're trading the guy for a third round pick, a second round pick, if that.
I don't know. The problem is we don't really have many even draft picks. Like, Jamie, what up? What up, Jamie? Marty, what's good, Marty?
Oh, we're doing this. What's up, Steve?
Hammer was good. No,
See,
he's in there. Marty giving you love. They all got
my man. I just wanted to be treated like the Robin of the show that I am. That's all I ask.
Oh man, what's good, y'all? But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is we don't really have draft picks to go out and get a Trey Lance. So I do like the idea, but it's tough.
Also, too, I think around the NFL draft is when a lot of this random stuff pops up. You know what I mean? And I'm sure we're going to dive into some more random stuff that just popped up that we never heard of. Like the Derrick Henry thing. I'm sure we're going to dive into that, but I didn't hear any of that until the last couple of weeks. I know there were some whispers about Henry maybe being available, but now it's like to the forefront because is the NFL draft this Thursday? Oh, yes,
Yeah.
it is. Oh my God. I just got a mini chub thinking about it. Almost time is flying by so fast, is it not? Like,
yeah.
We were talking about the draft 2 months ago. Like, yeah, the draft is in 2 months, blah blah blah. And now the draft is 4 or 5 days away.
Yep.
Crazy.
That's the night of Thursday, right?
Thursday, yeah. First round is Thursday.
We'll be on early then. I mean, we'll be on
8.
We'll be on Hustler's channel. I'm sure that they'll hop on with us too, Hustle and Bogue, and we'll just have a big draft party kind of thing, I guess. Right? What time is the draft?
8, I believe.
8? Okay.
Yeah. I believe it's at 8.
That works. I mean, the thing with Lance is I think Lance can possibly succeed somewhere else where I don't think Purdy can really succeed somewhere else. I think Purdy's got, the perfect situation there where Lance, I think there's a possibility he has some upside where he can succeed going somewhere else. And going somewhere else, at least in the Minnesota Vikings, he's got JJ, he's got fucking Big Cock Hawk. He's got some weapons on offense that he can work with. We got Osborne. I don't know if we draft a wide receiver. We'll see. There've been talks about us drafting like Addison, which I really do like. Imagine having JJ, Addison, Hawkinson.
I really think they need to retool that defense, though. They got to retool the defense.
That's the other thing. Addison will probably have to pick in the first round. So we did a first round mock. We did with after the review. Shout out to him and a bunch of other guys. Tigo from the Jets. We had Lions guys up in there, Cardinals, Steelers, and so all those guys. Shout out to them. I'm dropping the video actually tomorrow because I didn't wind up live streaming it, but we live streamed it that day. But that was fun. And as the Vikings 23rd pick, I wound up trading back. I traded back with the guy that had the Bengals pick. And he wound up taking Bijan Robinson because I figured, we'll pick up some more draft picks. We can get, stock up on some defense. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough because our defense was so bad. It's like, but do we pass up a guy like Addison if he's still there, where that kind of solidifies us at the wide receiver position for years to come? You talk about JJ. I mean, you talk about Chase and Higgins and what they're kind of doing there, and imagine if we've got a a JJ and same thing, AJ Brown, Devonta. We got our JJ, we got our Addison. So I kind of do like that. So I don't know. It's rough, man. Hammers the Nightwing. Fuck Robbins.
Jamie, can you just elaborate a little more on Nightwing? I don't know that reference. Maybe if you elaborate a little bit, but yeah.
I think it's a good thing. Yes, sir. Draft is this Thursday. Yeah, he said 8.
Hype.
I'd rather trade our third for Lance if we can get that than draft Hooker or whoever at 23. Yeah, but that's too high for Hooker. I feel like drafting him going in the first round, I think is too much. I don't want to reach for Hooker in the first, and I'd rather just spend on Lance and take that chance than I would on Hooker anyway. Hooker's good. I mean, he can throw the ball, but he just didn't really run an NFL offense, and that's kind of the most worrisome thing. Plus, he's coming off the injury.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting, and I think a lot of, not often, but it's possible to draft a quarterback outside the first round and he can have some success. I think the situation has to be good, and based on what the Minnesota Vikings have offensively for any young quarterback coming in there, you got to like what they have as far as young skill position guys. Like you mentioned, obviously JJ, Hawkinson. Running back situation's a little murky right now, but I'm sure you can find a running back at some point. Shore up the offensive line. I'm not in tune with how good the Minnesota offensive line is, but you'd like to think that they have the weapons to be able to help out a young quarterback, potentially, if that's the route they decide to go. I do think Kirk still has something left in the tank, but the problem with Kirk Cousins is I feel like you've reached your ceiling with him, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, he is what he is, and the defense has got to help us out and do the rest. I don't know how much more, how much better can the offense could have gotten. I thought we played great, offensively, and the defense kind of was just not enough for us. So that was the tough part. Now the good thing with Hooker is that because of his injury, he's getting pushed back a little bit, so we don't have to spend that high of a pick. We might not have to take him second or maybe not even third round. I mean, we'll see. But
what pick do the Vikings have? It's in the 20s, right? Early 20s.
23.
So it would be 23.
So we might move back. We might move back. Cincinnati is a legitimate spot that they might move up if Bijan is still there. The Bills, if a receiver is still there, right, or a running back. So there's some teams that might want to move up. In the draft, do the Chiefs want to go up, move up, and grab a wide receiver? Because you're looking at really. I mean, if the Titans don't take a receiver at 11, you got Texans, Jets, Patriots, Packers. And then Chargers, Ravens, Vikings. You've got a few teams that need, some wide receiver help. And if some of those wide receivers don't get taken and they fall a little bit,
oh man, I would love
moving back. We could be.
I would love the Packers to take a wide receiver at 15.
So I had in this draft that we did the other night, I had the Colts pick at 4, which I took Will Levis. All 4 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I had the Packers pick at 15, and I took JSN, second wide receiver off the board. Somebody took Quentin Johnston at 12 for the Texans. So I took JSN for the Packers. You got him and Christian Watson. They play different kind of roles, right? JSN could be more of that, that inside, that in and out, that possession kind of guy. You got Watson to, stretch the field and do whatever you want to do there. And then at the Vikings pick, I moved back. And then wound up taking Joey Porter Jr. at 28, and then I had the Eagles pick at 30, and I had the Eagles pick at 10. So the Eagles pick at 10, I took Nolan Smith, and then at 30, I took Jahmyr Gibbs just for the fun of it. So they wound up getting a running back anyway. But yeah, that was fun. I think they'll trade Cook or Zadarius. Yeah, they could probably trade both. I mean, I think Zadarius said he wanted to be traded, if I remember correctly, or he wanted out. And Cook is just, getting up there in age where a contending team like the Dolphins, like the Bills, might just go up and pay for him if they don't wind up getting the running back that they want, in the draft. So that could be an on the clock pick too. I mean, who knows?
So another interesting piece I was watching. I don't remember if it was Get Up. I was watching something in the morning. And they basically said that like the Aaron Rodgers trade could go down
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the draft as well, which is another thing. I don't know if we had that on our docket to talk about, but once we
yeah.
dive into the draft, it's going to be so interesting to see because that those 2 second-round picks, I believe the Jets have like 42 and 43. They have like back-to-back second-round picks.
They have 42 and 43. Yep.
So they have those 2 picks where they really said one of the softer deadlines would be the draft because then the Packers could get those 2 second-round picks, which at this point, it doesn't seem like the Jets have given up 13 overall. And
No, it's the next year first that the Packers want,
which I'm comfortable with. I'm comfortable with that, to be honest with you.
but the Jets don't want to give up a next year first either. That's the problem. That's what it's coming down to. And now Aaron Rodgers is like, bro, he told his agent, it's the Jets or it's nothing. Like, so
or I'm retiring. Yeah.
figure this
So
shit out, bro.
I don't know how I feel about only getting pick 42 and pick 43. But I think listen, at this point the Packers are moving on anyway, so you might as well get what you can. Like that's really what it boils down to.
It's
So
not bad picks, though. It's not.
no, it's not. You can,
Two
and the
top
Packers,
picks.
and for everything that I give the Packers grief about how they've handled the Devontae situation a year ago and how they handled the Aaron situation going back to when they drafted Jordan Love, they draft well. Like they do draft well. You know what I'm saying? So I have confidence in the front office that they'll make the right picks with the draft with 42 and 43. But to lose Aaron is just it's gonna be tough. But like you said, the more I think about it, it's either Jets or retiring. And if that's the case, take the 2 second-round picks and go on with your business.
Nightwing is the original Robin, Dick Grayson, who became an elite hero as a solo fighter that eventually took over the Batman role. Oh, okay.
All right, so be on the watch out, Steve. I might be taking over the Batman role, so just be on the lookout.
So who do y'all think will draft Bijan? Your serious belief answer. Well, apparently he's only actually met with 2 teams physically, which was the Eagles and the Bucks. But he's done a bunch of, I guess, Zooms and shit like that. The Eagles it's a possibility at 10, but they don't necessarily need to. I mean, Miles Sanders ran for 1,300 yards. Yeah, I'm sure you can draft anybody, second round, third round guy, and still fill that role nicely. So,
and there's talks about, not to cut you off, but there's just touching on that. There's talks about the Eagles acquiring Derrick Henry.
Yeah, well, that too. They said that just blowing smoke that's not happening. And I don't know if really they want to go out and pay for that either. They lost a lot of guys on defense. Like they got to shore up the defense. They lost a bunch of linebackers. They could use D-line, cornerback. There's a bunch of, there's other needs. So now the one thing about going round 1 is that you do get the 50-year option, right? So for a running back, even still, by the time if he's doing his thing, he's going to want a deal before that. So I don't know if that necessarily matters, but that could matter for other positions, right? For defensive guys, a linebacker, right, where you have that 50-year option that could be very valuable.
Hell yeah.
And that's one of the things that we were talking about, on the show is that, that first round that, get taking a chance on one of those, D linemen or linebackers, could be a more of a value because you do get that 50-year option compared to, the running back where you're probably going to have to pay him before that. But I don't know.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting because as we've seen, I think Saquon Barkley is probably going to be the last true running back that's going to go that high. What was he picked second overall? Something like that by the Giants. So even though Bijan could, or you can make the argument that he could probably be the most talented guy in the draft, like the value of the position, and we've talked about it ad nauseum over the last since basically we started the show, is that listen, he could be the best. He could be Barry Sanders, and he'll probably get picked somewhere in the teens. You know what I mean? Just because of the devaluation of the position and the fact that running backs are treated basically like a dime a dozen. I saw some weird stat about running back contracts over the last year or two, bro. The most people are given Miles Sanders, right? Was like 4 years, 25 mil. Like they're getting nothing. They're getting phased out. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I could see him going somewhere, in the teens, 10 in that 10 to 15 range. I don't think I could lock in on a specific team just because
I can.
Who's that?
Well, put it this way. Jay, what up, Jay? Thanks for tuning in, brother. I mean, because put it this way, after Philly at 10, I mean, who really needs a running back after that, or really wants to draft one? I mean, the Commanders maybe, but after that, it's not the Bucks, or the Lions.
Detroit maybe
at 18, maybe.
Packers.
No. Bucks, maybe. I just think there's other, maybe the Bucks, but after the Bucks, you've got
Houston, maybe.
You've got yeah.
Oh no, Houston. I mean, I was looking at something
Vikings,
else.
You've got the Cowboys at 26. Like realistically, like I don't know, if not the Eagles at 10, and if not the Bucks at 19, the Cowboys at 26 is probably an automatic. If he makes it there, but like I said, the Bills need a running back. The Bengals, these teams could move up possibly if Bijan makes it past, the Bucs.
I actually have one of my wife's good friends, her boyfriend out in California. We visited him the last 2 years out in California. He's actually tuned in. He's watching us out in Cali. Yeah, and he sent me a text message, a screenshot of us on his TV, which is pretty dope. So shout out to Brady. Appreciate you tuning in, bro. If you want, jump in the chat and interact with us and let us know what you think. But he did say Atlanta.
Yeah. PB and Waiver said Atlanta too. So yeah, I mean Atlanta, that's a possibility as well if he goes that high. I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
But that's the thing. Like I know that the position, the positions have been so devalued that people don't like. Kenneth Walker went in what pick did he go? He was in the second round?
He was like 2. Yeah, him and Brees too. They were early second round.
Like they were second round picks like that.
Or something like
right.
That.
And for the talent that we've seen from those two guys, that second round, like that just goes to show you what the NFL and what GMs and teams think about running backs. They're a dime a dozen. So it's really hard to predict. I love the Atlanta thing just because now you really got something going. If you could get a competent quarterback in there, now you really got something cooking with Drake London, with your boy Kyle Pitts, with a Bijan. I mean, I do like my guy Tyler Algier, but I don't think he's the long-term. I mean, no running back really is the long-term solution, but I got Tyler Algier on my Dynasty team, so I would like to see him get a shot at the full workload. But to imagine Bijan in that particular offense would be nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, imagine Bijan on the Eagles as well if they take
him. Yeah.
I mean, you're
that
talking
would be
about
crazy.
A difference maker because you're talking about Super Bowl or bust for the Eagles. It's it's the Chiefs that we are. We need defense to stop Patrick Mahomes. We need offense to keep a running back to keep him off the field. Maybe Bijan is that guy. But yeah, I guess 8 to 26 really would be the realistic range. There's no way he makes it past Dallas. There's no way that Jerry Jones is not taking Bijan.
No, at that point, he kind of has to take him just by default.
He'd be jizzing in his pants.
Cincinnati, I know you said that he probably wouldn't make it past them, but Cincinnati at 28 would be really interesting because of what's going on with Joe Mixon. They basically told him to take a pay cut or get the hell out.
They'd have to move up,
which Buffalo, I do like them. I do like Cincinnati moving up to get him.
And that's exactly what happened in that draft that we did. As I had the Vikings pick at that 23. Bijan was still on the board, and I said, you know what? Let me move back, pick up some more assets because that realistically the Vikings might actually do that. And then it was perfect. Like the Bengals took Bijan. I mean, you know, you don't know what's
Imagine
happening
that.
with Mixon. I don't think they care or need him. So
No, they don't. They don't care, and they basically said, "Take a pay cut or you're gone." So that's how much that tells you everything they need to know about how they feel about Mixon.
Jets tried hard to get back up for Brees after 26, but couldn't. Yeah.
And look what happened. He landed right in their laps in the second round. So
Yep. Yep. Derek said, "I hope not. My Tyler shares." Yeah, I mean, but
same.
that's what
But
happens. That's what happens in
he's
Dynasty. You can't
and
expect it.
and if I remember correctly, Tyler Algier was like a fifth round, maybe a sixth round pick or something like that. He was like a late round pick that there's not. And you talk about this a lot, especially with quarterbacks, where they don't have that investment in you per se, or you're not going to get as many chances. Like, bro, Elijah Mitchell, same thing, right? Same similar thing. He was rolling, he was beasting out. He
Bro,
was a
over
7, 6, 7,
over 100 yards per game from
and he was
scrimmage.
he was a 6th, 7th round pick, and they went out and got CMC. Now the injuries definitely played a factor, but he was productive virtually every game he played for the Niners, and they said, "Fuck this, we're going to get CMC." So I hope not, Derek, as well. I got my Tyler Algier shares, and he was big for me down the stretch. He was really big for me down the stretch, but if Atlanta got Bijan, I would really like that. They need a quarterback, but that would be pretty nice. Then you really got a triplet situation minus the quarterback.
Well, they could if they do like Algier, they could wait too and then pick up a guy in the second, third round where they're just now it's just a committee backfield also. So they'll probably bring somebody in. It just depends,
Yeah.
who it is. That would be crushing to the Tyler Truthers. Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be Tyler Truthers. You want to, you hope for the best, but it is what it is. We see these guys
You
get
gotta
replaced,
understand it. Yep.
season after season. So you can't be all invested in them. That's why we say don't go out and buy running backs. Just take it kind of year to year. Perfect situation last year for Algier. Perfect situation for maybe here. A lot of times the situation just outweighs it, but it doesn't mean that that's going to happen every single year. Like so since he traded up, remember? Yep, that's what I was saying, brother. Yep, since he traded up. So Patterson is rolling his eyes right now. Yeah, I mean, he's getting up there anyway. I mean, so I can't. You can't expect Patterson really to do anything next year. And it's kind of too late to trade him either because you're not getting the second,
third, fourth.
You're probably not even getting the third, to be honest. So yeah. Tyler is safe for the 6th round capital. Yeah, ADL top 5 line.
Pretty much, yeah.
Get his new Derrick Henry. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be celebrating over here if my boys got Bijan. Yeah, he's a Dallas fan, Derrick. Them Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, if he falls, I mean, it's a realistic scenario, but
I will say this though, Dallas is another team that once Stephen Jones kind of had more say, because if you remember a couple of years ago, there was talk about them drafting Johnny Manziel, and they went offensive line instead and really built the foundation of their team. So Dallas underrated has drafted really Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, their offensive line, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. They've drafted like a lot of those. They haven't really brought in a ton of marquee free agents. They've drafted really well over the last decade. That offensive line, we talked Ezekiel Elliott, they drafted Tony Pollard, they drafted. So they've really done a nice job. And I think in big part because Stephen Jones has taken more of a role in the roster construction. So, I mean, Bijan at 26 would be a steal, I believe, for Dallas Cowboys. And just they would kind of really not miss a beat offensively from the running back position.
No. That would kill the Pollard Truthers.
Yeah.
Gibbs
he's on the franchise.
Well. If Bijan does go earlier, is Gibbs a guy that comes off the board in the end of the 1st round for one of these guys? I think it depends on what happens with the wide receivers as well, because I'm sure the Cowboys and the Bills are looking at wide receivers also. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Henry to the Eagles thing, they're saying that's definitely not happening. I guess that would be kind of sick. I don't know.
I do think Derrick Henry's got. I think this is the last year that we really see him go nuts, and then after that, it's just like now you're really rolling the dice with a 30-year-old running back with crazy mileage.
I mean, and the thing is, their offense is always so shitty that they have to hand them the ball
Every time.
375 times a fucking year.
Look,
He's got over 1,000 carries in like the last 3 seasons. Like,
I'm gonna look it up right now to give it some context,
And-
but I think I brought it up on
somebody
maybe a
was
show
trying
or
to
two ago.
somebody was trying to tell me that he doesn't have a lot of mileage compared to, like, they're comparing like Adrian Peterson and Frank Gore. I'm like, bro, those guys played till they're fucking like 40, way after their prime, where the carries are kind of stacking up after that. But this guy's got in like 4 seasons like 1,700 carries the last what?
All
4
right, so yeah,
5
so
years. Add that shit up.
the last 4 seasons, you're looking at 3, 6, 9, so call that 1,100 plus 219. So you're looking at 1,300 carries in the last 4
And he
years.
played half a season. One of those.
And he played half a season, right. So 3.5 years.
How many?
3.5 years. So what did I say?
1,300,
1,300 in 3.5 years. And that's not outside in open space. That's between the tackles, hitting D linemen, hitting linebacker. Like, those are tough carries. So there's only so much body can take. And you saw the foot breakdown.
It was high school stats, right? Where he carried the ball like 40 times a game. Like,
yeah. Bro, he had like 60 touchdowns in one season in high school. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was fucking nuts. I'm in the camp that has Gibbs late first. Yeah, I wound up taking him at 30 for the Eagles in that mock that we did. That'll be posting tomorrow on my channel, so go check that out. But yeah, I took him at 30. It's possible he goes there. We'll see. Will Levis. Apparently, the Colts really like Will Levis, and they don't care if CJ Stroud is still on the board. We've got the Cardinals at pick 3, who are most likely going to trade back. You've got the Raiders, who are looking for possibly a QB. The Falcons, the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a few teams that might want to move up and grab a QB. At number 3 there. Texans might not even go QB, they're saying now. If they don't go QB and you go Bryce to Carolina, whoever jumps up to 3 goes CJ Stroud. The Colts get their guy on Will Levis, who's the guy they want. And then you've got Anthony Richardson to the Seahawks, possibly. Or maybe the Raiders, if the Raiders don't move up, maybe the Raiders are able to take him at 7. Maybe he falls to Atlanta at 8. I don't know. Are all 4 going in the top 10 or the top 5?
Yeah, there's been a lot of different mocks that have him going 1 through 4. Like,
yeah,
straight up 1 through 4, which is, we haven't seen that in quite some time.
Yeah.
So it'll be real interesting. I think Seattle's probably in the best position of all these teams, to be honest with you, because obviously, number 1, they're a playoff team, and they have a serviceable quarterback. Yeah, they have a serviceable quarterback, and that Russell Wilson deal is just fucking looking like they got away with highway robbery in Seattle.
I mean, that's the team you really want, a guy like Anthony Richardson to go where he doesn't have to start right away. He can kind of, he can sit behind there. Because the other
still have
thing
good players.
Like, didn't DeMeco Ryans just get it like a good coaching deal? What did he get? Like 5 years or 6 years or some shit?
That doesn't matter.
Well, my point is that maybe he doesn't. Maybe he knows he has a little bit of time to build. Maybe he doesn't go QB and he takes the top defensive guy. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't, because that's what the talk is that maybe they don't go QB.
Yeah, but the problem, bro, you and I both know, watching the Texans over the last,
they need
a QB. 5, right? Not even that. They're just a dumpster fire of an organization. They go through coaches. Like, I think they've had Lovie Smith got 1 season, got canned. Whoever their coach was before that, I don't even remember. But that organization is a dumpster fire. So
what was that after that?
I don't remember. But it's been such a dumpster fire there that just because he got a 5-year deal doesn't mean shit to me, honestly.
But yeah, it's possible all 4 of those guys go early. And then these wide receivers, like the Titans could take the first wide receiver off the board at 11. Texans, Patriots at 14. I know the Patriots are possibly want to take a wide receiver. Packers, Ravens, Chargers, Vikings, Cowboys, Bills. You might
there's a
go
lot.
4 wide receivers in the first round.
I could see that. Wide receivers tend to get picked, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you got JSN, you got Quentin Johnson, you got Zay Flowers, you got Jordan Addison. All 4 of those guys could possibly go in the first. You've got the Packers who could go after Michael Mayer as well. Would you like a tight end there? I've seen Mayer get picked there a bunch.
No, I would not like a tight end there.
Will Bieniemy work his magic with Howell? I don't know. I don't know.
To answer that question directly, there's a deeper issue going on with Bieniemy, and I'll just touch on it real quick before I get back to your question about the Packers. So the only reason why Eric Bieniemy went to the Commanders is not because he's trying to work magic or be a quarterback whisperer. He had to get out from under Andy Reid in order to be taken seriously as a potential head coaching candidate. That's the only reason why he did that. I don't think it has anything to do with he likes the Commanders. He likes their offense. I think it has nothing to do with that. So I think it's more of him getting out from under Andy Reid so people take him seriously as an offensive play caller. Now, if they finish middle of the pack somewhere, he'll get a head coaching job.
Yeah.
To go back to your point about the Packers drafting a tight end, no, not in the first round. I want none of that. If there's a wide receiver there, take the wide receiver. So now you have Jordan Love with his skill positions intact. They could go. I mean, they're going to need offensive linemen. I know Bakhtiari's getting a little. I don't even know what his situation is, but Bakhtiari's getting a little bit older. I don't know if they're bringing him back. He may be a candidate to get cut. So I would like to see them go offensive line at some point in the first or second round. But listen, how can I argue if the Packers stick the middle finger to Aaron Rodgers and draft a wide receiver in the first round?
Yeah. I mean, what if who do the Texans take?
I mean, if they're smart, they'll take a.
They go Stroud, right? And then somebody moves up and takes Anthony Richardson, and then the Colts get Levis. Then what do you do at 12 for the Texans? Do you go defense? Do you stay offense? Do you get him do you get your QB a wide receiver?
They're at pick number 2 for a reason, because they were really bad and they need help at a lot of positions. So I don't think you could go wrong anywhere. At that point, you got to take the best talent available, right? We talk about same thing when you're building a dynasty, or you're building a roster, even like obviously more dynasty than anything. But when you're in your rookie drafts, and you're a bad team, you got to take the best player available.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is are you totally sure that you're going to be a bottom 3 team in the league where next year you're going to have a shot at like the Caleb Williams or Drake May? That's the other thing. Are you going to have a chance to get a top QB that's been proven, in college and, with CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, where these guys have, been successful for more than 1 year, for years. They've both been, Heisman finalists.
Let's put it like this. Would you be surprised if the Texans won more than 3 games this upcoming season?
Would I be surprised?
If they won more than 3 or 4 games. Right. I mean, so that tells you that they're probably going to be in the top 5 somewhere.
But are they going to be in position to get one of the 2 QBs?
Who knows?
If they're not 1 or 2.
I mean, that's obviously hard to project out.
Well, that's the thing. So do you take that chance where, do you take the chance of not, you have a chance right now of possibly getting a
I think QB. If I was running that organization, and I probably could do a better job than what they're doing now, but I would take the QB. You have a guy there and you're in the position now. get the QB locked in place and then build around that, right? Isn't that what Cincinnati did, right? Cincinnati was a terrible franchise. I know they had their Andy Dalton, AJ Green years, but for the most part, they've been a terrible franchise. They drafted Joe Burrow, and it changed life in Cincinnati. Now they're a perennial conference championship team, and they just surrounded Joe Burrow with all the talent in the world. That's how you should do it, and that's a page that Houston should look at Cincinnati. I don't think CJ Stroud is Joe Burrow, but he's a foundational piece, you would like to believe, if you're taking him at number 2.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Like,
Marty said Texans get Stroud and JSN.
yeah, that would be.
Yeah, I've been bringing that up for a while now. That would be really cool for them. They get the franchise QB, they get his, one of his favorite targets that he's played with before. So yeah, that would be ideal. That would be
And
ideal.
that's a Cincinnati mold that I'm talking about.
And if you get Stroud and JSN, I mean, are you going to be a bottom 5 team at that point? Maybe not.
I still think they're going to need a little bit of work, obviously.
I mean, obviously it's going to be work, but
listen, but then you have the most important position locked down. Then you could figure everything else out later. You know what I mean? Like, you can't control what's going to happen next year. Like, you can't worry about that. You have to, what you could control. You have the number 2 pick. CJ Stroud's going to be sitting there. Why wouldn't you take him?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the number 12 pick. And if JSN is still there, that would seem to be a good place to start. Like, ask the Bengals how they feel about having Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on their team.
Right. Oh man, somebody said, you really think Green Bay grabbing a tight end? I think it's a possibility. I mean, Michael Mayer's a guy we've been waiting to come out for years now. And he's an all-around kind of guy. Packers really haven't had a great tight end in a while. He's also a good pass catcher. So I mean, he can be, a good friend to Jordan Love, another target to have, another, safety blanket where, he can feel at least comfortable, and he's just another weapon, like we've said. Jordan Love.
And to be honest with you, the more I think about it, I'm still not comfortable with it. But if it did happen, I would kind of try and look at the positive in terms of exactly what you just said, where for a young quarterback, and Jordan Love's not that young. Like, he's been sitting for 3 years. So he's not that young. He's inexperienced, but he's not that young relative to, some of these other quarterbacks out there. But I will say that I do think it could be a benefit for Jordan Love in the long run to have a security blanket that's a good pass catcher, because you have Watson, you have Dubes, you still have the 2 running backs. So, and the defense should be better than what it was last year. I know it wasn't what everybody thought it was going to be a top 5 defense, and it just wasn't that. Now, if that defense elevates to top 10 defense, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what they finished. I could look that up, but I actually wouldn't mind that, because if you have Watson, Dubes, the 2 running backs, and Mayer, you can kind of work with that.
Yeah, I like it. I like, because he does more than just catch the football. Like, so he's giving you that as well. Hope to grab a wide receiver or offensive tackle. Yeah, they could grab a tackle depending who's left on the board too. There's a couple.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean, the one thing, like I said, and I'll just briefly repeat it. I trust the Packers organization to draft well. Like they do. They draft fairly well. So I do trust them to draft well. And listen, also too, if they get 42 and 43, maybe they move up a little bit in the second round. They moved up before. They moved up in the second round last year to take Christian Watson. So the Packers they moved up a while back. I remember they moved up to take Eddie Lacy. They moved up early. I think it was early, like that first pick in the second round or something like that.
Who do you move up to take, though? What position are you looking for if you're moving up? So
offensive lineman. Offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman. Okay.
Yeah, if they take Mayer and say they package their second round pick with maybe one of the picks they get from the Jets, then maybe they move up to the early second round, the top 5 of the second round, and take an offensive lineman or something, like that. That's because, like I said, Bakhtiari is getting a little bit older. The offensive line's been a little banged up as of recently. So
you want to protect Jordan Love, of course, too. So
yeah, right. So there's a ton of different ways it can go.
I guess depends who's going to be still on the board there. But with Jameson suspended for 6 games, do you see the Lions drafting a wide receiver in the first round? No.
I'm actually glad
I,
he brought that up
I
because
don't think. I mean, it's 6 games. It's not like he's gone forever. I mean,
mhm.
I don't know if they want to invest another first round pick on a wide receiver where they've got some other holes that they might really want to beef up.
Defensively, most notably.
So yeah, I wouldn't think they draft a wide receiver in the first round. Did they get one in the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round? Maybe, but I don't think that early. But yeah, go ahead, Hammer.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you. I think the answer is no, because I do think they have so many other positions to fill. Like I said, most notably defensively. They did pick up Hutchinson last year, and I think he was a beast for the most part, throughout the season. So they got to probably get some cornerbacks. They probably got to get some linebackers. Maybe obviously offensive lineman is always a need in the NFL. So I don't think they should, because then he'll come back. He'll, get into the swing of things. But that was a disappointment seeing that scroll across my screen and be like, really,
Yeah,
bro?
I got him in like 2. I got him in like 2 of my leagues. I got a few shares of Jameson.
And I've been trying to grab him up in our home dynasty league.
So that hurt. It went from, me trying to get like the pick 105 with like Jameson plus to this guy offering me like a fucking late 2nd round pick. And I'm like, bro, like 6 games. This is Dynasty we're talking about. Like his value ain't dropping that low. Like, I mean, realistically, yeah, it's gonna drop a little bit, but it sucks. I mean, these guys got to be smarter. They saw Calvin Ridley get fucking,
That's the
get
biggest
banned,
thing.
and whether it was football or not, apparently for Jameson it wasn't an NFL bet, so that's why he only got 6 games, and some of the other guys got a whole year because they bet on actual NFL games, but Jameson did not bet on the NFL sport. He's bet on some other fucking sports, but he was at the facility was the problem. So I mean, what the fuck? Like, you don't have a burner, you don't have someone else's phone you can use attached to a different name under a different account. Like, even I think of shit like that. I mean,
But the biggest, you said it from the rip. They just saw what happened to Calvin Ridley, dude. Like, and the fact that Calvin Ridley is being reinstated, like it's a big deal. Like, it's big NFL news. Calvin Ridley's being reinstated. He had some interviews, blah blah blah. Like, it's at the forefront that he's being reinstated, and you still engage in this kind of nonsense. Like,
they got money. I mean, what the fuck? How much
listen,
you even betting? Like, how much did you even bet? And now you lost the whole season, or you lost 6 games. Like,
listen.
for how much?
For somebody that enjoys gambling, I understand the pull to do it. However, you have so much more to lose than I do. so to do it, I agree with your premise, bro. You got to be smarter than that. Like you said, have a burner account, have a family member place a bet for you. Like, there's so many ways to not get caught doing this kind of thing. I wonder, like, how do they get caught doing that? Like, does the NFL monitor their bets, or do they their phones like that? How does
Yeah, well,
that
I'm
work?
sure
Do you
after the
know?
Ridley thing, they monitor that. Well, the thing is, like, when you place the thing with Ridley was where he placed the bet, it was illegal to place the bet where he was. He wasn't in the particular state where it was legal. And so they traced the um what the fuck
Like
is it called?
the IP address?
IP address. Yeah, exactly. They traced the IP address and it came back to him. And so that's
Man.
how Calvin Ridley got caught.
Bro,
For these guys, I don't know exactly how they got caught, but I'm sure it was the same possible kind of thing. And they might just be monitoring the main phone numbers that they have on these guys, or at least when they're at the facility, they're monitoring that. Or they're definitely monitoring any professional athlete that bets or gambles something. Whoever is, wherever they gamble it, the name, like, it comes up as a flag, and it's like, okay, this person is a professional athlete. And then they look into it. Okay, is this a legal bet or is it not a legal bet? So I'm sure that's what happened. Is a bunch of names
So
came up. They investigated it because you're a professional athlete, and you're not allowed to bet on shit. So that then they looked into it.
So is that something like if you're like I guess in Jameson's case, if you're and I don't know this because I haven't really looked into it too deeply. I just know they got suspended. I don't know if you know. Um, but like if you're an NFL athlete and you bet on baseball, like that's you can't do that.
You can, but you can't do it at the team facility. The problem
Gotcha,
was that
gotcha,
he
gotcha,
bet,
gotcha.
so he might have bet on baseball or hockey or whatever, but he did it at the team facility. And
Then
that's
you're
illegal under the NFL rules and under their agreement or whatever, which
then
is
you're
kind of
even more of an
dumb.
idiot. Then
Which
you're
is
even more of an idiot.
it's
But
kind of a dumb rule, but at the same time, it is a rule, and they should be aware of the rules, or their
right,
agent or teams should have went over this with them. Calvin Ridley obviously was a whole big thing. This is the fucking rule book. This is what we're allowed to bet on. This is what we're not allowed to bet on. This is where you can bet on it. This is where you
right,
can't bet on it.
right.
So they should have went over, that whole that whole thing. But yeah, I think just as a professional athlete, once you actually make a bet and it's linked to your name and your account or whatever it is,
You get
automatically I
flagged.
think it gets flagged. If I'm not
That's it.
mistaken,
That's it.
somebody
That's
correct me if
interesting.
I'm wrong, but I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
that's such a fucking and especially for a guy like Jameson, who I have pretty high hopes for in terms of him really coming in and being a
He just missed
factor.
the whole season.
Right, right, right. So for him to miss now another 6 games, I still like him as a player and I still like his stock. I don't think this is going to damage his stock. And if it does, go out and buy Jameson Williams for a second round pick if you can. But bro, oh my god, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I have a brain, and you can use a VPN, which is a virtual private network, to mask your like these guys
That's
have so much access and so many resources that if they want to do something and get away with it, they have the ability to do it. And something so trivial as sports betting, where it's becoming legal more and more in states that it hasn't been in the past. I know Vegas mainly was one of the really only places you could bet, before I want to say last year, January, but bro, there's so many ways you could get around this. It's just dumb, and they need to be better. I like it. It just blows my mind, honestly.
Oh man, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed if it's your first time here. Appreciate you for tuning in. Marty says Mechie announces comeback. What range of wide receivers should he be going in Dynasty startup? Well, I think number one is going to matter what's going to happen in the draft too. Are they going to draft a wide receiver or do they not? If they don't, obviously he'll be up a little bit higher than if they do. But I mean, he's still
Risky
down there.
too.
I mean, he's past the Darius Tony, Sky Moores. I'm trying to think of a range of where he would be at. Let's see. What do you think, Hammer?
I don't really know, to be honest, just because I think there are some variables that you talked about if they draft another receiver. Also, too, what's the status of his health? Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the status of his health condition as well? Right, that's a thing that does he have a chance of like I don't remember what exactly his diagnosis was, but like, is his health going to be okay?
He's probably in like the Chase Claypool, DJ Shark, Nico Collins range. He's probably in that same range as his counterpart, Nico Collins. Really, maybe
I
even
think
later. Maybe even later than that.
I think he could be valuable, like if he came back and was on the field, and like he could be, but there's just way too many variables to be able to really know for sure.
I'd rather have Alec Pierce. Would you rather have Alec Pierce or John Metchie?
Yes, Alec
I'd
Pierce.
rather have Alec Pierce. Would you rather have Rondale Moore or John Metchie?
I'd probably rather have Mechie.
Yeah, that's a close one for me. I like Rondale Moore, especially if they get rid of Hopkins. But again, it matters if they draft somebody. If they don't draft anybody and it's just Mechie and Nico Collins, like
Their value goes up.
what's the chances it's going to be just Mechie and Nico Collins? That's my worry. Especially if they drafted a QB, you want to get him some guys to throw the football to, like we're talking about with Jordan Love. So yeah. Emil said Alabama boys always find a way to get themselves in trouble. That's right.
So really interesting, Emil. That's actually a really interesting point because a lot of these athletes that come from these big time programs, like when you're on these campuses, you have like that big man on campus complex where you can't get in trouble. And a lot of times in college, unless it's so egregious that like you pulled out a gun or did something like that, like they get away with a lot of shit that we really don't ever find out about on campus. Like, so they probably have that same kind of mentality in the NFL, and the NFL's not fucking having it. Like, protect the shield, and if you fuck around, deuces.
Find out. Fuck around, right. Find out.
No doubt.
Dynasty startup 12 team number 2 pick. Who you taking? We're going.
Yeah,
with
we need
Allen. Going with Josh Allen, baby. You can make the argument for Burrow. I mean, but I'm still going Josh Allen.
I do need the particulars in terms of what the format is. If it's super flex, I'm taking Joe Burrow.
Taking Joe Burrow over Josh Allen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What y'all got? Your single QB.
Ooh, that's different.
I mean, I still think it's JJ Chase. Like,
I think I'd rather have Justin Jefferson. Honestly, I'll be honest with you.
No. He's saying number 2 pick though.
Yeah, you said JJ or Chase.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather have JJ, but
yeah,
I'm saying the number 2. If JJ goes first, the second pick for me is going to be. It's got to be Chase for me. I don't know if can you go RB already? Can you go Bijan?
No.
I mean,
no. You have to go wide receiver there.
I think you got to go Chase as the 2. Yeah. If JJ's your 1, however you want to slice it, JJ or Chase, JJ.
I would agree. I would take Jefferson first, obviously, so Chase would be the logical second pick. Unless somebody takes Chase, then Justin Jefferson falls in your lap, and you take him and run for the hills.
I'm taking Chase.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I have both of those guys at.
Unless it's like a start 8, like then I'll take Bijan just because we're just starting less dudes. But yeah, we're going Chase. We're going Chase as 2 there, bro. Going Chase as 2. Hit the thumbs up. Appreciate you, Derek.
Derek, you the man, bro.
What else I miss here? I'm taking Hurts over Burrow and Allen in Superflex. That is bold.
It's bold, but you can make the argument.
No, you can. You can absolutely. My only thing, especially when it comes to like 1 QB is a little bit different because in 1 QB, you want to go after, that upside a little bit more. But, when we're talking about the Superflex, I mean, at 30 years old, is Hurts going to still be able to do what he's still doing? Where he might not be able to run as much. He might have to change his game a little bit more. How is his game going to
translate?
What's the word I'm looking for? Translate, as he gets older into his 30s, where Joe Burrow could possibly play till he's fucking 45, like Tom Brady. That is where it's a subjective thing how you want to do your rankings and all that. But yeah, I prefer Burrow. For me, it's Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and then Hurts in that order. What about for you, Hammer?
So I think the fact that Jalen Hurts is only 24 years old and just got the bag, I think that could solidify your argument because I don't see him losing that edge anytime soon.
No,
he's not even in his prime. Let's just call it what it is. You know what I mean? So he's still going to get better. And the Eagles have shown that they will go out and surround their guy with the talent that he needs to be successful. So you could make the argument for Hurts because, like I said, he's only 24, 25, whatever. I don't know when his birthday is, just got the contract. And the Eagles are putting the necessary talent around him. And the talent around him is young. Like his wide receivers are young. Dallas Goedert is a really good tight end. So I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm a little biased because Joe Burrow is my guy on my dynasty team that has kicked ass for me these last 2 years. But I can't argue with somebody that says that they would take Hurts. The rushing upside's there. And that's really what separates them. Yeah.
Argument is definitely there. Can't argue against that. I actually wound up making a trade last night in one of my leagues. This is a super flex start 9. What the hell is it? All right, so I wound up last night trading in this start 9 super flex. The trade was I traded away Matt Stafford. I traded away Ramondre Stevenson. I traded away a 2024 late first and a 2024 late second. I have like a top 3 team in the league already. And I got back Brees Hall, TJ Hawkinson, because my fucking tight end was Hunter Henry, and Sam Darnold. So now my team is Josh Allen at QB, Kyler Murray as my super flex QB. I've got Brees Hall and Tyler Algier at running back. At wide receiver, I've got CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, and Amon Ra. At my flex, I got DK Metcalf. On the bench, I got Marquise Brown. And at tight end, I got fucking TJ Hawkinson. So
So does
yeah.
anybody else in this league know how to play fantasy football, or
There
they're
is
giving
this
you?
this is a 10-team league to be exact. So
Okay, well,
that's let me make sure
that
I
actually
throw
makes a
that in.
little
So
more.
it's 10 teams start 9. But I drafted a fucking sick team. I made some sick trades. And this is what I wound up with. So I definitely got it's me and this other guy pretty much are just dominating this league. But I lost last year because Stafford fucking got hurt and fucked me. I had Tannehill as well. He fucked me. Malik Willis was
Trash.
trash. So I didn't have a fucking super flex
Super
QB to
flex.
play, and it fucked me. So, but I was able to fill a tight end slot with one of a top 3-4 tight end, and I was able to get my number 2 dynasty running back in Brees Hall. So fuck yeah. Um, it's 10 teams, so you got to spend a little bit more, but fuck, I was happy with it.
Yeah.
Upside in the contract, though, I'm going to play it safe with Burrow and Superflex. Yeah, no, I can agree with that, Jamie. Definitely, for real, bro. For real, definitely, definitely. Bayou Bengal Fantasy Network, YouTube suggested this live stream. Here to say hello and hope everyone is doing well. Appreciate you, bro.
Hey.
Appreciate you for tuning in,
Oh,
man. Hit that
hell
like,
yeah.
hit that subscribe for us. Appreciate y'all.
Hey,
Appreciate y'all.
Bayou Bengal. I don't know if you're an actual Bengals fan, but if you are, I don't know what Bayou Bengal, like what that represents. But if you are a Bengals fan, I don't know if it's Cincinnati. I know Bayou is like New Orleans
Hey,
kind of shit.
yeah, yep. If you are a Bengals fan in the mock draft that will be dropping tomorrow, they do wind up getting Bijan. Oh, Bayou Bengal, LSU Tiger. Okay, okay, my boy
Gotcha.
JJ.
Gotcha.
Okay, I got you. I
LSU.
got you. That makes sense.
I'm not a
That
big college football
appreciate you.
watcher. For whatever reason. Like I'll watch the national championship. I watch some of the conference. I watch some of the bowl games and shit just to get a good feel. I actually bet on college football for the first time a year ago.
Did
I
you?
think it was like Ohio State and somebody played. I think it was Ohio State and Clemson, I believe, a couple of years
Mm.
ago. I think that was the Trevor Lawrence game before he got drafted. And I think I bet Ohio State or some. I don't remember, but yeah,
Saints
appreciate
fan.
you, man.
Okay. Saints fan. Okay.
Yeah, New
We
Orleans.
could
Yeah,
check
that
on the
makes sense.
whole Kamara thing. I mean, most likely they draft. I don't know. They draft somebody.
That'll be
Kamara just
interesting.
really falling down the rankings. I've got Kamara. I don't even know why. I still got him in my top 30. He's my 29th ranked running back in Dynasty, falling almost outside the top fucking 30. I don't know what's gonna happen. Does he
Nobody knows.
ever come back? Like,
That'll be
I'm not a
interesting.
Bengals fan, but I would love Gibbs landing there for fantasy reasons. Yeah, Gibbs would be awesome. Gibbs would be awesome there.
I'll be honest with
Any
you.
running back, really.
That was
Fucking
going to be my exact
Bigsby,
point.
Evans, fucking Charbonnet, anybody you could throw on that team almost. Spears, I mean,
Joe
absolutely,
Mixon didn't exactly set the standard for efficiency. He was a good running back, but he wasn't exactly efficient. So if you get anybody with some efficiency, they're going to be amazing.
absolutely. We have Jamal Williams now. We still need, yeah, but Jamal Williams is not that good. Let's be honest here.
A former Packer. Don't.
I love me some Jamal Williams. He's awesome. He's an awesome dude. He's an awesome player.
He is an awesome dude.
But
His
I mean, yeah,
interviews,
his interviews
his
are great.
bro, his interviews are
They're gold.
second to none. Second to none. And I do think he is a good running back. He just, I think we got caught up, not caught up, but caught up the other way where we're like, bro, 17 touchdowns or whatever he had. Like,
Oh, yeah.
bro, come
That's
on.
not happening again. But yeah, I mean, he's a good running back just to have on your squad. But yeah, you definitely need to bring somebody in there to be like
For
the
sure.
next, guy. Absolutely. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a good stopgap runner. Yeah, absolutely. I like him, but he's not a difference maker on your team. I guess that's
I would
like
agree.
that's the main
I
thing.
would agree.
But he's definitely a good guy to just barrel in there. I'm trying to get a sucker to trade me an early second for Kamara. There's no way. There's no way in hell you're getting an early second with all these running backs that we got out here. You might, if you add something to it, maybe you can get an early second. I mean, there's leagues you can't get a second at all. You got to get like you can't even get a third right now for Kamara. Like, yeah, I'd rather just fucking draft this random guy in
Make
the
the
third
pick.
round.
Yeah, make the pick.
Or draft this fucking tight end in the third round, then fucking take Kamara. So yeah, man. All right, we got this dynasty roster review to go over, so y'all could join us in that. Unless y'all got anything else you want to talk about or any other questions before we pull up this dynasty roster.
I think there was something else I saw in the news thing.
I'd rather have Roshan at 2.5. Yeah, absolutely, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard. You gotta, I guess, like you said, if you could find a dummy, you could find a sucker to give you an early second. Then maybe. But yeah, even the mid second is going to be rough because you got guys like Roshan. There's a ton of RBs you can draft in that second round. Tight ends maybe also. So, Bayou said, I agree. Yeah, bro. Yeah. I mean, bro, you got Olave though doing his thing over there. That was a great pick that they made.
And
I
I
don't know
think
what's going on with what.
I think Derek Hall will bring some stability to the position that they haven't had since Drew Brees retired.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He'll be good enough, at least to support Olave.
Yeah.
What
Your
they're going
boy
to do with
Mike.
Michael Thomas, I mean, Michael Thomas. Yeah,
Did you see him doing the deadlifts?
don't get me started on Michael Thomas. Yeah, I seen it.
Oh,
I seen it. He'd still do his thing, but he's not going to be the guy that he once was. I think we should all recognize
those days are over.
So, but I do love me some Michael Thomas. Glad YouTube recommended y'all to me. We'll definitely hit the sub for y'all. Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
Definitely appreciate that, man.
New sub, Bayou Bengal.
We don't really have we have a lot of different representatives of teams. And he's a Saints fan, so that'll probably bring a nice fresh perspective into it from
we got some Saints, Vikings, Cowboys,
Bears.
We
got a Chiefs guy.
Is Jamie Cleveland? I don't know if Jamie's Cleveland or not. Yeah, we got a bunch of different teams up in here. My boy Marty's with me on Minnesota here. Skull, baby.
Oh,
baby.
I'm not doing this.
Who has a worse outlook for Dynasty, Zeke or Lenny? Damn, they're both almost like the same.
Yeah.
I guess Lenny. I don't know. I think Lenny could probably run a little bit better than Zeke at this point. So I guess Lenny, but Zeke can catch better. I mean, it's gonna depend on where they wound up going. But I think
I was gonna say that'll be interesting because if Zeke ends up on like a good contending team, in a good offense, and he bangs in double-digit touchdowns, obviously dynasty-wise, I feel like they're kind of the same. Yeah, I feel like they're kind of in the same position, but think they'll
Where are
still
they
have
gonna? Where are they gonna go? Like, where could they possibly go? I mean, we're gonna have to wait till the draft, right? Nobody's gonna take them before they know if they can take anybody in the draft. So,
Agreed.
you know, do one of them go to the Bills, the Bengals?
Bills is interesting.
I mean, let me pull up the. Who else can he? I mean, the Cardinals, maybe.
Chargers would be interesting
Chargers,
If Eckler finds his way out.
or maybe even if not,
Atlanta, we brought up Atlanta.
maybe even if not, you roll with Zeke and Eckler, Lenny and Eckler.
We brought up
Atlanta,
Atlanta.
yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Still some decent spots.
Jaguars.
There's always room for running backs, though. Like, so those guys will find work. Chiefs, yeah.
Miami.
Bro, running backs are going to get injured. These guys are going to find spots.
And guys are going to get injured. That's the other thing. Once guys start getting injured, yeah, definitely, bro. Oh, Marty said Broncos. Yeah, that's a good one. I like P. Ryan. I guess we'll see as we get closer to the season what Javonte Williams' status is. I mean, they're saying he could possibly be ready for week 1, but I don't know if that's possible.
But they're not going to give him the full workload. We talked about this.
He's shredded. Yeah, he kind of shredded everything. Yeah, we got Jamie's right. He was Cleveland. That's right. Marty with the skull. Hell yeah, baby. Fuck them cheese heads.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
What up, Song? Yo. Bayou said both have pretty poor outlooks. Zeke has more mileage on him, though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Lenny's just bad nowadays.
Yes.
They both are, really. I mean,
yeah.
It's rough to watch, like, Zeke in the open field, like, running. Like, he's slow as shit now compared to what he used to be.
Not good. He got that contract, and he ordered all the Happy Meals. Yeah. All the Big Macs.
Jamie said, where do you see Evan Hull falling to be fantasy relevant? I don't know. That's tough. I guess any of the teams that need running backs, really. I mean, depending how late he goes to. I mean, you got, Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Cowboys, Chargers, Bucks, Patriots, maybe even Texans, Bears, right? Falcons. I mean, any of those teams, really. It's just a matter of who's the number one ahead of him, and do any injuries happen? I mean, usually it takes an injury to happen for any of those guys later in the draft to kind of be, fantasy relevant. Vikings, shit. We did. There was a mock draft the other night that we did, and he went to the Browns. So yeah, the Browns is definitely a nice spot. But I mean, do they believe in Jerome Ford too? Do they maybe pass that up and take on, fix other spots that they need to fix? Question for the Vikings fan: what's your take on the Vikes possibly cutting Cook? I mean, I don't know. I keep saying, I mean, they probably will cut him. I mean, then we got to. If we draft somebody, then I'm sure we'll probably cut him, right? There's talks about Trey Lance, right? We're not extending Kirk Cousins, so do we just reset the whole shit and say fuck it? Let's just start over. Let's go get Trey Lance. Let's draft a running back. Forget Dalvin Cook. Let's draft a wide receiver. I mean, do we just start the whole shit over and just rebuild from there? I think that's definitely a possibility. So I don't know. It's interesting to see. We'll see what happens in this draft and what we decide to do, because that might dictate what we wind up doing with Cook. And if some teams don't get the running backs that they want or wanted in the draft, then it could be Cook could be going somewhere else. So we'll see, man. We shall see. Love Ford, but not on the Roshan love. I agree with you there. I agree with you there. But do they want to go out and spend on Roshan when they can, fix some other hole that they have? So, Tyson Chandler. Yeah, I mean, he was one of my guys to hold on to, before the season ended. just in case. But can it be Madison and Tyson Chandler season?
Tyson. When
It's
I hear
most
Tyson
likely the
Chandler,
draft.
why do I think NBA?
Well, it might not be. What's his name? Is it Tyson Chandler or is it something else? I have him on one of my teams. Hold on. It is Tyson Chandler. Oh, Ty Chandler. Yeah, I guess Tyson. Maybe his real name is Tyson. Tyson Chandler, whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, I got him on one of my taxi squads, but it could be. We'll see. We'll see what happens. They just signed Madison at least to the 2 years, so they've got Madison for a little bit. And we know, he's pretty capable. So, do they want to get rid of Cook and roll with fucking Madison and Chandler? And maybe they do bring in somebody else too, but I don't know. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, Cook is at that age, so if you can get something for him, I'll take it. Especially if we're not going to re-sign, Kirk. Maybe it's just time to reset the whole shit. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I ain't getting my hopes up for anything. So
Yeah, I think like you said, one of the key things is the draft is really going to dictate where a lot of teams go from here because why would you sign or cut or do anything before you know who you're going to get in the draft, and then obviously if the Vikings land a running back, then maybe Dalvin's expendable.
yeah, I don't know. We shall see. Why can't I fucking make this pick right
Are you drafting?
now? Yeah, I'm in.
How many leagues, dude? How many? Please, how many?
It's not. I'm in. No, I'm in. First off, I'm in 6 dynasty leagues, but
No,
This
no.
is the best ball draft that I'm doing right now. This is the best ball draft. Why is it not letting me pick the fucking guys that are in my queue right now? It's my pick. The fuck. Hold on, I gotta make this pick quick. Keep talking, Hammer.
This kid's making picks on air. I actually saw. Did you see that thing I sent you? I sent you something on the IG about a type of league that people are running, where you basically eliminate like the team with the fewest points that week, or some shit like that. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So basically, it's like where it can be like a 14-team league, and all you have to do is just not finish last in points. Like it's not head to head or something like that. I'll look for it again and see. But I think that was something interesting that I want to take a look at.
Yeah, definitely. Bias, it was a pleasure to hang out for a bit. Also followed y'all on Twitter. I'll shoot y'all a shout out to see if I can get y'all some more subs. Keep grinding. Y'all will see me around. Yeah, man. Appreciate
Thanks, man.
you. Bye, bro.
We love that, man. Thank
Always,
you.
always. Only 6 leagues, bro. I'm at 19 and wanting more. Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
well,
God.
we're adding 2 more, so that'll be 8 by the time the season starts. And then who knows what happens? Who knows what's gonna happen after that? But yeah, I mean, this way we're not biased towards fucking Joe Burrow because he's on my dynasty team. I'm in a bunch of leagues. I got Joe Burrow, I got fucking Josh Allen, I've got Mahomes, I got a bunch of different guys. So for me, it just kind of keeps me more level headed. I don't got to be biased towards.
I love fantasy football more than anybody, but once you get
No, you
past,
don't. No, you don't.
I do. I love it just as much as anybody. But to be in anything more than like 4 or 5 is just, it's overkill at that point.
Well, I'm done with redraft pretty much. I'll probably just do like 1 or 2 redrafts and just stick to the dynasty. Oh, guillotine? Is it Marty said guillotine?
Yes.
Yeah,
Guillotine. That's exactly it.
There's
Yeah.
guillotine, and there's another one. I forgot what it was called that somebody had asked me about, and it was like you've got to win 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row. You got to win like back to back, or you have to win 3 in a row or some shit like that. And once you win 3 in a row, that's it. The league ends at that point. Like that's how you win the league. Like you have to win like 3 years in a row or some shit like that.
Bro, that league can never end. It's hard to win one. Yeah. Like that's I mean, Yeah, I could see it, but 3 in a row,
Bro,
Jesus.
why can't I make this? Did these guys get picked already? Am I bugging? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Hold on. There's no way. Because
Yeah,
then if they got picked, they wouldn't be in my queue. So what the fuck?
I was actually thinking about doing away with my redraft and just translating all of my people into a dynasty league.
Yeah, so I mean, I fucked up. This is a best ball draft. I don't know what the fuck. Y'all want to help me make this pick? Hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. Help me make the pick on air. It's best ball, so just keep that in mind. Not a dynasty team.
I've heard best ball before, but what's like? Can you just like
So
explain a little bit more?
the best ball is you just all you do is draft. All you have to do is draft your team. You don't have to set your lineup every week. It's gonna put automatically. It's gonna put your in your lineup whoever scores the most fantasy points for you. So
Okay.
all you got to do is just wait till like the end of the season, basically, see if you're in the playoffs. It's just gonna start.
Okay.
It's just gonna start everybody there. So all right, let me pull this down real quick so y'all can see the whole fucking board right quick. And it's IDP, so there's like IDP slots too. So wound up going Burrow, Diggs, Cup, Metcalf, Judy, Kittle, Trey Lance, Purdy, Bryce Young, Gibbs, Tony, Greenlaw, Elijah Moore, Joku, Okereke, Bosa, Elijah Mitchell. So now I got to make this pick, and I'm like, do I got to go defense or do I got to go? What am I doing here?
Mm-hmm. Who's on the board?
And my wide receivers are pretty solid, so I really want to stack up on running backs towards the end of this and defense. Um, so man, Wilkins, Hollins. I want preferably a linebacker, but I don't think there's even that many fucking linebackers left that got hogged up. Holcomb. Might have to go Holcomb here. Jamin Davis. I want to stack up on some linebackers coming back from injury. I mean, dude could fucking tackle though. 142 in 2021. Now moving over to Pittsburgh on that defense. Fuck it. Let's just go. Tell me what y'all would think. RBs. I'm gonna wait a little bit on RBs. There's still a bunch of rookies still left on there. So Mostert is still here. Hendry Miller, Bigsby, Tucker, Evans. I'll probably draft a bunch of these. Dude, Spears, Roshan. I mean, there's a bunch of guys. Izzy, Chase Brown. There's a bunch of guys still down here. Jerome Ford. So still a bunch of RBs. I think I'm set at wide receiver with the guys that I have because the 1, 2, 3, 4 in the flex. So yeah, I'm pretty set there. I'll draft a couple more, maybe. Now we got Elijah Moore. We got Joku. Yeah, I mean, best ball is not something I've been doing for a while. I did it last year. I probably did like 5 teams last year, but yeah, I haven't done much. Best ball. Y'all should try to get in Huss's 32-man league next year. Yeah, that's just fucking nuts.
Woo.
That's
That's a
nuts.
that's a lot of smoke.
I don't start redraft till late August. Yeah, but I do about 4 to 5. Yeah, I mean, I did. The fuck did I do? Like 10 last year, and it was just too much. I just couldn't keep up with like trades and waivers and shit. It was a little rough.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like I said, I don't know if you heard me. I'm thinking about just overhauling my redraft and just bringing everybody over to Dynasty. But I like most of the people in my league are pretty cool. Like, so I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna send out a group chat, see if everybody, because then we'll have a Dynasty startup hopefully sometime over the summer.
Well, we got the subscriber league too that we got to do.
And
I
the
think we're gonna
subscriber
do.
league.
I think we're gonna do 2 of them. So if you guys want to, interested in the subscriber league, just keep watching, keep following us. Make sure you follow us on Instagram too, because that's where I post most of my shit. So at least y'all can get in there. I love Dynasty, but I can't quit redraft. Yeah, I mean I'm not quitting it, but I'm just gonna limit it to like probably just a couple leagues, maybe 2, 3. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
David, go ahead.
I do like redraft just in terms of kind of one season, go for the gusto, anything happens, that type of style. And we've been playing it for the last 10 years anyway. So, but I kind of see what you're saying in terms of now that we're in this dynasty shit, like it's just a long haul. Like it's the product, it's your fucking product basically. So I get it.
Yep. I do about 60, 70 best ball drafts a year because I'm a degenerate that loves drafting, bro. Everybody loves drafting. Everybody, man.
It's almost like Christmas in the summertime when those fantasy drafts roll around. You're just like, oh yes.
Stevie hogging all the Niner QBs. Yeah, bro, because I wound up going Lance, and then the news came out, I think, about the trade and shit, so I had to get Purdy, and I just, and then it was best ball, so I just kind of said, fuck it. I'll just take whoever's the Niners QB. But all right, let's get into this roster review. Matt, if you're out there, thanks for sending in your roster. But this is a 1 QB league. All right, so it's not super flex. It's 1 QB, but it is a start 10. So it is a little bit deep, right? We got 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 3 flex. So start 10,
if
1 QB.
If he was in super flex, he'd be in good shape. Decent shape, I should say.
Yeah. We've got only the pick 212 in 2023. We've got nothing in 2024. We've got just the third in 2025. At QB, we got Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Sam Howell. So, I mean, you're fine, I guess, with Murray, Cousins, Goff. Like,
I like Goff until Murray comes back, or even Cousins, depending on the matchup. You're probably going to have to play the matchups. I think I like Goff a little bit more than Cousins, but you got the Cousins JJ connection, so that could be something that swings you to play Cousins a little bit.
Yeah. At RB, we got CMC, Dalvin Cook, Miles Sanders, Tyler Algier, Mostert, Madison, and Knight. At wide receiver, we got JJ Ridley, Lockett, Evans, Curtis Samuel, Gallup, Richie James, Calvin Austin, Justin Ross, and Jalen Naylor. And at tight end, we got Kelsey the God, Go Dirt, Jazicki, Irv Smith, and Juwanaman Johnson.
That was good.
What do you think about the team, Hammer, just kind of right off the bat initially? And let me also add, this team has just came off of back-to-back championship.
I like it a lot. I think it's really balanced, like well balanced, actually. You got your studs, you got your core. I know we're going to talk about that. But I guess right off the bat, it's just balance. I love the balance on this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it as well. You got JJ, so that's awesome. You got Kelsey, so you're in that kind of that winning now mode. Now you just did win, 2 years in a row. But yeah, the defense. I didn't add the defense on there. Start 10. We talk about is just offense. For defense, I mean, do whatever you want, I guess, on defense. But we'll give you some offensive shit. Cowboys and Seahawks defense. So you're fine on defense anyway. I mean, you got a great defense, so I'm sure that's what's helping you win as well.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do? What do we do from here, right? So, oh shit, my bad. What's some of the studs? What's some of the core players we're looking at here, Hammer?
Obviously, Justin Jefferson jumps off the page. We talked about Kelsey in terms of he's going to die on your team, so he's the guy. Kelsey, you got to throw Kelsey in there. You just can't not include him in if you talk about studs and core players. So JJ Kelsey, Kyler Murray as well, if you want to look at him from that perspective. I know there's some uncertainty with the injury and obviously with the potential departure of DeAndre Hopkins, I should say. They basically fucking overhauled the whole front office, coach, GM, etc. So you could throw Kyler Murray in there. He's still a difference maker at the position. He's a top 5 guy production wise, potentially anyway, when he's healthy and he's right. So you could throw Kyler Murray in there, and then Christian McCaffrey for what he's worth. He's going to be another top 5 guy at the position as well. I know we treat running backs, like dime a dozen kind of thing, but you got to throw CMC in there because he is a difference maker at the position. So I would say those 4 guys.
Yeah, I mean, I love JJ, and I love, I guess, Kyler Murray that you have there. But CMC and Kelsey is tradable for me. I mean, you just came off back-to-back ships, so there's a couple different ways that you can play this, I think. So yeah, I would be open to trading CMC and Kelsey. So I wouldn't say that they would be some of the core players I want to build around at this point in time, because you just did come off of 2 ships. So I think I want to extract some value, just kind of looking at it from that way.
Also, too, I tend to agree with that, and even more so on the Kelsey point. I mean, he's a stud. I don't know if he's a core, but you could look at it both ways, really. But I do think the fact that you have Dallas Goedert as your second tight end
Hmm.
is potentially where you can transfer some of that value out of Kelsey into your wide receiver spot. I'm sure we're going to talk
Yep.
about that.
Yep. Absolutely. Because I mean, one of our team needs is really wide receiver. I mean, you can start 6 of them in this format,
Mm-hmm.
with starting only 2 running backs. So we definitely need some help wide receiver wise. That would be pretty much the team need. I would say would be wide receiver, and getting some guys that you can maybe build around, or some core players you can get, for the future to keep this thing rolling, because you
I
can
would
still
agree.
make trades and still be able to, win a ship again.
I would agree.
So yeah. All right. What's some trade pieces that we're looking at here? What are
I
we
mean,
trying to come
you
off
essentially
of? Go ahead.
you essentially talked about it in Kelsey and CMC. I think because he has Miles Sanders, because he has an Algier, a Mostert, a Madison, I would be reluctant to trade CMC, but I would be open to it if the price was right. I think the bigger one here is Kelsey, really, because number one, not only in name value, but true production on the field, you're going to get fantastic value for Kelsey. So I think Kelsey would be the first one I look at. And also because, like I said, you have Dallas Goedert, who is a really
Mhm.
good tight end in a really good offense. So I would try and trade Kelsey and see if I could pick up a primetime wide receiver. You probably could do it too. Like it's not out of the
Yeah.
it's probably your best trade piece as far as obviously CMC as well. But the drop off from Kelsey to Goddard, it's a drop off, no doubt, but I don't think it's as significant a drop off, especially if you're talking about transferring it and picking up a Jalen Waddle or a T Higgins, right? Or somebody
Mhm.
like that, where you've got Dallas Goddard as your starting tight end, and then you got JJ to go with T Higgins or Jalen Waddle. So I would love that right off the rip.
Yeah. Can you get yourself a top 15, dynasty wide
Ish.
receiver from coming off of
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey? Can you go after? I don't know if you could get Jalen Waddle or St. Brown, but what about the Olave, Higgins,
Garrett Wilson.
Devonta, DK, Garrett Wilson? I think is just going to be way too expensive. I don't know if someone's going to be willing to trade him, for Travis Kelsey, but if they're a win now team, possibly, depending what the rest of their team looks like. So uh, what else we got here? Drake London. I mean, Christian Watson, Jerry Judy. These are all guys you might be able to get Judy plus.
I
You
was
know,
gonna
the,
say plus.
so once you start getting into those guys, you might be able to get plus. So I would look into that definitely. And you got the 212 there too, so I'm okay with packaging that up with something as well. I mean, it's not worth much. It is a 212, but especially in the one QB, but
But still something to sweeten the
yeah,
pot.
because you do got Go Dirt, so you can fall back on Go Dirt and feel safe. You're not,
Mhm.
you're losing a little bit of production, but you're not, it's not a major L. But if we can take that value that Kelsey has right now, transfer that over to that wide receiver position, then you're in better shape there. Or can you combine it? Kelsey and Gallup, or Kelsey and Evans, or Evans. I would want to come off of, like Tyler Lockett. You can try and come off of. I don't know
I
what
wouldn't even
you.
I would even package Kelsey with one of those younger running backs like Kelsey and Algier,
Yeah,
or
you can do
Kelsey.
that too.
You know what I mean?
That's
Because somebody might look at Algier's season, like his stock is fairly, pretty. He has a good stock coming off the season he came off of. Now, before the draft happens, you might want to get that done, because if the Falcons draft a running back, Algier's stock definitely takes a hit. But I would definitely look at that, maybe to sweeten the pot, package Kelsey with Algier and see if you can go after one of those. Fuck a top 15 guy. Try and go after a top 12 guy, a top 10 guy. Swing for the fence.
So if you can hold, let's say if you can hold on to Ridley and you move CMC and you move Kelsey, you package it with whatever you need to, and get two more top like 20-ish, top 15-ish wide receivers, and you're rolling in with JJ Ridley, two top 20 wide receivers. And you still got Goddard, so you're not losing much there from Kelsey. You lose CMC, but you still got some other guys here, and you still got time to try and figure out some other trades, as well. But yeah, I think that's kind of what I'd start to do, is start to try and build up this next run that you're about to make, and build up on some wide receivers and get rid of some of the, and take advantage of the value that you have right now, because CMC's value is not going to get higher, right? It's only going to, decline from here. Same thing with Kelsey. So you could take advantage of those right now, transfer that over to some wide receivers that are going to increase in value and going to help you, in the long run. And now you're starting to build up another squad to make a run, for the next few years. So,
and even now, like even if you do trade Kelsey and you get Olave, right? Just hypothetically, if you trade Kelsey and you get Olave, you're still gonna have a good chance to make a run, like either way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're as you like to say really quick, you're extending your window. That's what you like to say.
Yeah, so that's kind of one of the routes that I would definitely look to go. You can also just run it back if you want. You want to fucking go for the hat trick. I mean, you could run it back too and kind of stay where you are. You still might need some wide receiver help, because I don't know what, Evans is going to do for you, or Samuel, or even Gallup, with Cooks there, and then might even drafting a wide receiver. So, but yeah, instead of running it back, like I would feel very happy. Like I just won 2 years in a row. Now it's time to not even rebuild, retool, as a word that I like to use. Just retool a little bit, and you can, and you're still going to be in contention. But you're going to be in now longer contention. You're just extending the window. So I think that's definitely kind of how I would look at it there. And those are some of the trade targets, like we said. You could start high and work your way down, right? Waddle, St. Brown, Olave, Higgins, Devonta, DK, Drake London, Watson, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy. And again, those guys you could probably get +4 for some of those. So
yeah, I would agree. And I think also too, we talk about this all the time, and it's kind of like a standard practice when you're making trades. Look around the landscape of your league, right? If you have a crazy Chiefs fan in your league, target that team and see if he's got if he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown on his team, and he's a crazy Chiefs fan, try and get Amon-Ra St. Brown for Travis Kelce, something like. Or if they need a tight end, exactly. So not only is targeting certain players that you want to take back on your roster, but target certain teams, certain owners. Like you want to look at the full scope of it, because you might be able to get more value, right? So a team that needs a tight end, obviously the value of Travis Kelce is going to be higher to that team. So those are kind of standard practice, trading philosophies that we go by, just so you maximizing the value. And especially somebody like a Kelce, who's getting a little bit older but still a hell of a player, and people will trade for Travis Kelce. It's that simple.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, those are some of the trade pieces and trade targets that we're looking at. I'd like to keep Ridley. If you have to give him up to get like a young stud, then I'm okay with that. But if you can keep Ridley, that'd be fine.
I do like Ridley if he's your, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, then you're in pretty good shape. Like say if you got JJ Olave,
that's what I'm saying. If you wound up,
Ridley's your 3-4, then you're good. Yeah, then you're in really good shape.
Drake London, maybe, especially for the teams that are trying to win now, like you might be able to snag a Drake London, a Chris Olave, where Kelsey's putting up a massive amount of points. Like it's possible maybe somebody gives them up. You got to see around your league. You're gonna know your league better than we do. So let us know. Like, are those even possibilities or what? And what kind of route are you looking for? Are you trying to just repeat it right now and keep these guys, or are you trying to retool it a little bit and go after some of these other guys, stack up on those wide receivers so you can kind of extend that run there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, especially with this team, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in contention next year, even if you do make those trades, even if you do give up
Exactly.
Kelsey and or CMC, because you have the pieces in place and the value you're going to get back is going to be enough that it's not going to be a significant drop off from what you have. And you have other capable running backs, right? I think Miles Sanders is going to have a pretty good year.
You got Sanders and you got Algier. You can trade CMC, you can trade Sanders, you can trade Algier, you can trade Kelsey, and just stack up at wide receivers if you want, and then just plug and play some RBs. That's another route that you can do. So you don't even have to keep, Sanders or Algier either. If you got to give those guys up, and you're able to stack up on wide receivers. If you could trade Algier before the draft, that'll be even better because there's a possibility he could lose some value. Would be in a bad situation if they do wind up drafting somebody like we talked about earlier. What if they wind up taking Bijan, right? Then Algier is worth nothing. So if you can come off of him, I'd like to do that too. So
absolutely,
because you could start fucking 6 wide receivers. So if you have to plug and play the running backs, but you're winning at these other positions, I mean, kind of make up for some of those points that you lose.
So let's just do a quick hypothetical. If he just runs the team back, right? Who is he starting? Obviously he's starting JJ and Ridley, and then for his running backs, I would imagine you're starting CMC and Miles Sanders as your 2 RBs. I don't know what Dalvin Cook's situation is or if he's startable. Who are your other flexes at that point?
Well, you got 3 wide receivers. So you got JJ, Ridley, and Lockett. And then at flex, you got Michael Evans. You've got Dalvin Cook or Sanders. I
would put Goddard in the flex over one of those guys. Goddard would be one of my flex guys.
I wasn't even looking at the tight end. Yeah, you could put Goddard in the flex when you're doing it that way too. So yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah, this is a solid team. Really good team.
I like it. But
that'll be interesting, Matt. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you do make any trades. We've actually made some trades live on air. So I do think one quick point before we wrap up, if you are going to make any of these trades, I would try and make them before the draft, especially if you're going to try and move Algier, as you said. His value will take a hit. So I think if you do want to make a move, I would try and make a move before the draft. Just in case they do take, a running back in Atlanta. So you're maximizing Algier's value, especially if you're packaging it with Kelsey to really get something nice at the wide receiver spot.
Definitely. You got anything else you want to talk about before we hop off here, Hammer? I think we hit everything.
I'm good.
That we were gonna.
Hell of a show.
Talk about. Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all Wednesday for our mock drafts we do Wednesday nights, and then we'll see y'all Thursday on Hustle Network. We'll be on there for the draft. So
are we moving up the time for the actual show?
I think we'll just move up the time for the show.
Starts at 8 Eastern.
I work till 7, so I gotta rush home on that night. But
we could jump on at 8 because it usually takes. I know.
Yeah,
jump on at 8 and just recap and everything. Yeah,
definitely. All right, peace, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe. Appreciate you. We'll see y'all in the next one.
Yes, sir.